Okay, QST, QST, QST. It's 8 p.m. on a Monday evening. Time for the Broken Arrow Amateur Radio Club Monday Night Net on the W5DRZ 146 and 91 repeater. I'm Scott, KD5NJR, and I'll cover the net control duties this evening. Purpose of the net is an exchange. It's a two-way street, guys. An exchange of information of interest to area radio amateurs. You don't have to be a member of the BAARC or any other club to participate in the net. All that we ask is that you're appropriately licensed for the 2-meter band. Okay, so that's about all the legalese I can stand. With that out of the way, I'll make a quick mention that kind of like we did last week, we're gonna live stream this on YouTube, and I'll keep the episodes around for a week or two. But like anything on a ham radio, you might not want to say anything that you wouldn't put in the newspaper. So anyhow, be thrilled to death to have everybody check in, and feel free to let us know what you're up to during these work from home type shelter in place situation that we have going on here. Anyway, I'm Scott, KD5NJR, and let's take a pause to build that first list of check-ins for the net. Call now.
AF5JB, Nevada West Olson.
KI5CPP for the count only.
K5LTS G&B Rose District count only.
All right, we're off to a start. I've got Matt on that list, AF5JB. I got KI5CPP and KE5LTS. Those guys are in and out. No traffic for the net. So thanks for stopping in. So that takes us to the top of the list, and we'll get Matt, AF5JB from KD5NJR Net Control.
Appreciate it, Scott. You and everybody else out on the net. Thanks for being there. And how's your weekend, Scott? Good?
Yeah, Matt, apologies. We didn't get to talk last night, but we were running behind. It seemed like we never did get caught up yesterday. Slept in and talked to some friends from church. We did a Sunday school lesson on Zoom, and then had some, late breakfast, early lunch kind of deal. Had some breakfast burritos, and then Tiffany had baked 200 cookies, and we boxed those up and took them to friends and family, kind of a surprise for those folks. And then that took the majority of the day to get those delivered. And then we warmed up a ham and had some potatoes, and that's what put us late for our QSO.
Yeah, copy, Scott. Yeah, went out of town and saw a couple of friends. Kind of got hung around. Hung out all night and talked a little bit, all that. So that's a lot of fun. Got back study up, study about early afternoon. So it's kind of a nice little break from everything, and kind of get away from the city a little bit. And real quick there, Scott, how's that 220 coming along?
Hey Matt, Tony dropped by that Kenwood TM642. He did that earlier today, so I'll get that hooked up tomorrow and put a couple test calls out on Keatonville. Okay.
Yeah, Scott, this sounds exciting. year, but of course, but would be a bit cooler than too hot too soon. So besides that, heat will be here before you know it. So what do you do? Anyway, there, Scott, I'm sitting here at the work at the at parking lot. I just got finished detailing this one truck, so I just wanted to just stop by for a little bit. I'm just saying, we can stay healthy. Get anybody else out there and 73, and thanks for having me on, and catch y'all next time out there. And this is FIJB, Matt, West Tulsa, Bad Day Control. Peace again, Scott. Hope to see you Sunday night. Bad Day Control.
Hey, you bet. Hey, Matt and me have kind of a informal roundtable Sunday nights at 9:30 on 44385. Sometimes we get a few more takers and we go over what we did over the weekend. I'll throw that out there. Everyone's invited. And while I'm talking about nets, the Claremore guys, 14709, that repeater's got a really good noontime net. It may even start as early as 11. Ray may let us know. But that fires up about noon in earnest and goes well into the afternoon. They call it the Boredom Busters net, and it's 14709. Worth checking out. Okay, so that takes us down to the bottom of our list. Let's take a pause for additional stations to the net this evening. Call now.
A5KLM.
Kilo Golf 5, Mike Echo Hotel.
Okay, Kevin, we got you down. You're number 2. Station ending KLM. Go ahead.
Scott, appreciate you letting me get in there. I just wanted to shout at this is Kilo 5, Kilo Lima Mike. Not heard Matt in a long time, and I just wanted to say hey to Mr. Matt. My goodness, that is a familiar voice. Good to hear you too, Scott.
Hey, no problem. Hey, Matt, you want to holler back? AF5JB from Control.
Gone there, Scott, so
Yeah.
anyways, if you hear him back in there, tell him I said hey. I definitely love talking to Matt. Always have. Scott, thank you for letting me check in. Appreciate it. K5KLM.
Hey, you bet. No problem. I'll put in my notes here that you're looking for him. Hey, 73K5KLM from KD5NJR. And now let's move along to KG5MEH. Hey, good evening.
5NJR, this is KG5MEH. Good evening, Scott, and everyone out there. Not a lot of exciting things to report from this past weekend. Managed to wash the car head to toe and get all the grunge off of it just in time for the next round of grunge. Did a little work in the garden covering up the tomato plants. I saw in the weather they were forecasting a little slow this evening, so got those covered up. And other than that, golly gee, I washed the windows on the house. Finally cleaned them up after a couple of years. It's surprising what you can see through those things now.
Well, you may have been scraping the bottom of the barrel for chores.
No argument there. Yeah, I've been looking at them for a couple of months going, you know, I really need to clean these things now that I'm working from home in the home office. You know, you look out trying to get some kind of view for the day.
Well, hey, good deal. I'm glad to hear it. And yeah, you're not kidding about the next round of grime. We've got some interesting weather coming our way.
Yeah, we'll see if the weatherman got it right. They say that the bottom half of Tulsa could get something, so I suppose Broken Arrow could possibly get something. I guess it just comes down to walking out tomorrow morning and see how much something we got. But that's all I've got, Scott. Not a lot. Everyone have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed your Easter weekend. This is KG5MEH returning back to net control.
Well, hey, very good, Kevin. Hey, appreciate you stopping by and looking at the old National Weather Service forecast here for Tuesday. See, daytime, what would this be? Yeah, daytime high of 52, uh, overnight low 39. Okay, but probably tonight it drifts down to 35. Well, we'll see. It was chilly. Had to kick the heat on out here in the shop slash Radio Shack slash home office. I've had a whole lot more heater days than I have air conditioner days, but I've got a high ceiling in here, so I'm kind of glad that I haven't needed the window unit. It doesn't really keep up anyhow. So anyway, it's Scott, KD5NJR, with the Monday Night Net, and looking at the decision support page from the National Weather Service Tulsa office. Like they taught us how to do in spotter training, for severe storm, we're all green until Sunday. For our lightning, we're all green until the weekend. And then river flooding, we were red today and tomorrow, probably in case it rains. Then we're green on out for the balance of the week. Fire danger is green except for Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. That might have to do with high winds because it really doesn't corroborate with the thunderstorm numbers. So anyway, that's kind of my take on that. www.weather.gov, and then you poke around in there and find the Tulsa decision support page. Kind of a handy tool. So as far as housekeeping items go, haven't heard yet about the May Broken Arrow Amateur Radio Club meeting, but of course we canceled the April one due to the city being shut down. Typical meetings are held at the city's community center, 1500 South Main Street in scenic Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. First Monday night of the month, 7 p.m., 1500 South Main. Time on the meetings about 7 o'clock. And of course, we don't have to talk about Green Country Hamfest anymore. Had they had it, it would have been this past weekend. So a good time was not had by all. Hi. Bit of sarcasm there, but better luck next year. It looks like we've got maybe Oklahoma City, the ham holiday in late July, and then in I think late August is Joplin Hamfest. So we'll talk more about that as we get a little bit closer to the day and the rest of the details come in. Scott, KD5NJR with the Monday Night Net. We'll take a pause for additional check-ins.
Good evening, K5CCP.
Kilo Charlie 5, Juliet Kilo Uniform.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Tango Victor Golf. Kilo Alpha 5, Tango Romeo Oscar. Kilo Charlie 5, Sierra Hotel Echo.
Okay, let's hold there. Okay, KC5 SHE, KA5 TRO, KF5 TVG, KC5 JKU, and K5 Charlie Charlie Papa will start off our list. So let's hear from you. Good evening. Welcome to the net. K5 C++ from KD5 NJR. K5 CPP from Control. Do you have comments for the net?
I got to switch radios, battery went down again.
Okay, that's fine. Do you need a moment more? Okay, maybe so. Let me call you next here. We'll come back to you. KC5 JKU. Hey, Jerry.
KD5NJR and net, this is KC5JKU. Good evening, Mr. Scott. How was your program today?
Pretty good. I'd have got a little bit more done if I didn't have one fire drill and a couple of conference calls. But I think I've got everybody happy. There was a question about, well, there were some sighting, SITING, sighting related questions about a fiber hut that I'm putting in. And then we got those resolved. And my counterparts found where we're going to put it to be acceptable. So we, after thinking that it wasn't, so we got that worked out. And then some more routine chatter. I almost got some material ordered that I needed to do, but I'll get around to that tomorrow. So anyway, I thought it was a pretty productive day, to be honest. And I just kind of stayed close to the space heater here and banged away on the laptop. How about you, Jerry?
Yeah, it sounded like you moved stuff around on your desk there. We had a pretty good day. Our factory in Italy has got open again, at least enough so that they can handle their own phone calls. So I don't have to do that again this week. No more 3 in the morning discussions with folks in Germany and France, so I'm glad that's done. Yeah, it was a surprisingly cool day. I did cover up all the plants. They were susceptible to freeze damage, so we'll leave that on again this evening and see how that goes tomorrow.
Hey, I did. You noticed my Saturday morning project. So anyway, I would leave myself for later in the net, but there was a deal I couldn't refuse around that Kenwood D700 transceiver. We talked about this a little bit Friday at lunch, but I found a place for that on the tabletop, and then I decided that we were in the weekend by that point, in the 3-day Good Friday weekend, so I didn't need my IT crap. So I powered all of that down and relocated that to the other end of the little building here. And now I've got a lot better situation with where I've got the squelch put on all the VHF radios. They like having that router and that access point and that Cisco phone being away from them. So I was surprised. You know what? I don't know, not a lot. What probably 6 feet does. That really helped. And the WWV clock is not angry with the Cisco router and all of that stuff either. So they coexist on the end of the building with all the books. I swung by Tommy's in Coweta and picked up another half a dozen milk crates. So I've got all of those books about space travel and electronics I'm getting better with that situation. So maybe I'll send around a couple more snapshots of the workspace here, Jerry. Back to you.
Well, it sounds like you're making progress on your library there, Scott, as well as your arrangement of equipment in the shack. Glad it's working out better for you. Having a little bit of time there during the day to experiment certainly helps. No, I don't have anything else for the net. Appreciate the opportunity to check in. Best wishes to everybody. So with that, return to net control. This is KC5JKU.
Yeah, copy that, Jerry. Yeah, I think probably the next miniature project is going to be to put some high gain rabbit ears on the access point. I've got that Pringles can antenna that I borrowed from Tony. I think I might give that back to him. That's a little bit of a bear, I think, to keep in a line. So a little bit more experimentation to make sure I can still get into my conference calls without too much hassle. I'd like to try to get a little bit more idiot proof of an antenna. I think I may be more of an idiot than I thought I was. So anyways, yeah, all of this said, I'm enjoying watching the vehicles and the weather stations and the digipeaters pop up on APRS. I've got that remote head setting right next to the laptop, and it's a little bit nicer than having to keep an eye on a second laptop to see what's going on. So I've got a setup not dissimilar to what you've got mobile. Hey, 7-3 Jerry, KC5JKU, KD5NJR. And let's run up to the list here and see if we can pick up K5CPP. Maybe he's changed his battery out.
Good evening, K5CCP. Copy.
Yeah, you're doing well. Go ahead with the net.
I appreciate the opportunity to check in. Been in the Broken Arrow area about 2 years now. I'm originally from southeastern Oklahoma. Renewed interest in ham radio and can't wait to meet everyone.
Yeah, you said southeast Oklahoma?
Near Durant.
Okay. All right. Well, this is kind of our regular routine here. Not Friday nights, Monday evenings at 8 p.m. So we'd be pleased to have you come by whenever you like, and kind of the topic, if you will, unlike Ron's net, just kind of general chit chat. I don't think we have much of a designated topic, but when you get me on a roll, it could be space travel or airplanes or computers or electronics, or you never know. Over.
Sounds great. Great topic. So enjoy participating and get to know everyone. I've come from a public safety background, fire, police, EMS, and I work for an air ambulance company with medical helicopters and airplanes. So do a lot of administration work on the back end. Work from home, so the shelter in place is nothing really new for me.
Well, hey, very good. We'll have to talk sometime. You piqued my curiosity when you said public safety. I work for the electric utility, and we're changing out our 800 megahertz radio system from EDAX to the Harris product, and that uses the P25 scheme that's in a lot of public safety stuff. So we might talk radio sometime. Hi. Hey, well, thanks for checking in.
Thank you. K5CCP.
Okay, so if anybody was brave enough to search YouTube for KD5NJR and find my Scott Haley channel, there may have been an icon there regarding the live transmission, and if you fire that dude up, you'll see my APRS 32. You'll see my desktop on my PC, and I've got a map of BA, and then I've got a list of bulletins that I squawk out periodically. Most of these are nets, Monday nets, Tuesday nets, some stuff over the weekend as well that might be of interest to you guys. So I'll leave that up for a few minutes, and you don't have to have a ham radio wired into your PC to enjoy APRS IS-32. You can run that in a read-only mode, and that's a pretty nifty tool to look at the comings and goings of amateur radio stations, and then the National Weather Service puts the weather polygons up on there as well. So something to think about for storm season. The software is called APRS IS-32, and if you have any questions about it, just holler at me. Next station on our list will be KF5 TVG. Hey, Bob.
Hello, Scott, and everybody. This is KF5 TVG. Hope everybody's surviving and getting along with their spouses okay. So far, we're doing fine here. I can't say that I've really accomplished much since last week. I did clean up some balls of 12-volt wires and coax back behind my computer and my radios, and got that all cleaned up, straightened out, and son of a gun, everything works still. So that's pretty good. Also, I revived an old computer that hadn't even been turned on in 10 years. It's an old Vista machine, and I think I first got it going about 13 or 14 years ago. So it's still got Napster and Winamp and a bunch of vintage apps on it. So it's kind of a old clunker. But I was able to get a bunch of old videos and pictures off of it from back in the day. One of which was a video of when our son went to space camp down at OU in 1990 when he was 10 years old. So his son is now 10 years old, and I think my grandson will get a kick out of seeing his dad being a control guy in the Space Center thing. So that was kind of fun to see that.
Hey, that is super cool. Yeah, there's a father-son session of Space Camp that I'm going to see if I can get Alex to do with me sometime. And just because, I don't know, it might be too lame at 44 to go do that by yourself, right? But that would be fun. Over.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. On the video, there was a time when I walked into the control center with my camera, and of course parents were not supposed to be in there, so you can hear my son saying, "Dad, you're not supposed to be in here." So, so my grandson will think that's pretty funny. Also, I wanted to follow up on my story from last week about the bat in residence that we had last week. It turns out it wasn't a bat, and I paid $125 to find that out. And those guys also wanted $2,300 to bat-proof my house from the non-existent bats. So I guess now I know where that phrase "bat expletive deleted crazy" comes from. So anyhow, I just wanted to let one of the other Scots that was talking about Bob's Belfry bats know what the status of that was. That's all I got for now, Scott. Good talking to you. Hope everybody has a good week. And this is KF5 TVG, back to net control.
You're a bat crap crazy. Well, that's a shame because guano being high in potassium, I was gonna get some of that. I was gonna borrow some of that for model rocket motors, but I guess not. That's a funny story. I should get my dad to tell you. You guys are both OSU guys, and he's a couple years older than you, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. He was early in his Air Force career when at the point that you got your master's. So I don't know. Who's to say who's older? I'm not sure. But anyway, he's got a pretty good story about setting fire to the lot next to his mom's with a model rocket motor project gone awry. We'll tell that story another day. But hey, I wanted to say though that I do get periodic AX25 APRS frames from your Yaesu. What is that? A FTM 400. That looks good. I went over to aprs.fi and I put in my call sign KD5NJR-9, and down here at the bottom, stations that I hear direct. I hear you, KF5TVG-4. So that's a shot of a whopping 4 miles, but not bad. I don't think either one of us have the best of antennas.
Yeah, that's right. And there's that ridge between us. So even though it's a short distance, it's a long way to get there. So I'm pleasantly surprised you're able to pick me up directly. As far as your dad's age, it seems like we talked about this before. He might be a year or two older than me. I was born in 1950. So it's easy for me to do the math. Nice round year. And I don't know that I ever sent anything aflame with a rocket, but I did do a few of those when I was a kid, and they were a lot of fun with, I never had anything expensive, just a little cheap Estes motors and that kind of stuff. But a lot of fun. Anyhow, this is KF5TVG back to net control.
Yeah, my grandma, his mom, would let him, in her good cast iron skillet too, nonetheless, let him caramelize sugar and saltpeter, and that they'd do those candy engines, and they pack those into the elements of television Yaggies. I don't know where they found a plentiful supply of television Yaggies, but maybe there were a lot of those when cable came to town. Hi. Anyways, yeah. So anyway, if you dig back through the YouTube, you'll see that screen from aprs.fi, and I can pick up Mounds and South Tulsa and Keatonville. So that's 22 miles out to Mounds, but I hear them now, no problem. So pretty pleased with the way things are running with the DM700 mobile here sitting on the desk. So anyways, hey, I'll talk to you later, Bob. KF5TVG, KD5NJR, and that takes us down to KA5TRO.
85NJR in net, KA5TRO here. Well, not a whole lot new going on. I'm actually tearing into another radio at the moment, but did want to throw out a swap and trade item or two, if I might.
Well, why not? Why don't you take it away?
So I have two different ICOM 2-meter all modes that I would like to sell. Both of them are IC275s. One of them is an A model and the other one is an H model. The A model was my backup to this rig, which I used up might be interested in either of those radios, they are free and welcome to contact me by email, which is the best way to get me these days, which is my call sign, KA5TRO at cox.net. Prices will be about $250 for the A and $450 for the H. Neither one of them are beauty queens, but neither one of them are in terrible condition either. But they're both 100% operational. So anyway, if anybody's interested, drop me a note and we'll talk. Anyway, other than that, not really a whole lot else going on. Waiting for you to get that 642 up on the air so we can chat on 220. And oh, by the way, I don't know if they got Keatonville back on the air, but it went down Friday night during the 220 or the Oklahoma All-Star Net, because N5XQK was on that repeater, and all of a sudden he went away, and then he came back through the SkyTook machine, but I hit it through the Leonard machine, 224.18. So that would probably be an easier trip for you than it would be to Keatonville. Over.
You know, Tony, that's just something we'll have to troubleshoot. Maybe we'll put up a call on the Ham Shack hotline and then try things out. That Leonard machine hates me. But when I wasn't at high school football games last year, you know, I would do that 9 o'clock net, and I always did that through Keatonville. So, yeah, I'll try to see what I can get done tomorrow. But I would love to get that radio installed here on the workbench.
Well, you know, I had the same experience with the Leonard machine for the longest time, but I tried it again here recently, and lo and behold, I could get into it much better, and it was much less noisy than it used to be. So somewhere along the way, somebody addressed the issue or issues with it. But, you know, your mileage may vary, although, you know, you and I are only, you know, a 2 or so mile trip apart from each other. So we should be able to hit it pretty equally. And the other night, actually as well, Gene, KE5LTS, was connecting through the Keatonville machine when it dropped, and he got into the Leonard machine no problem, and he's even closer to you than I am, I think. So anyway, we'll figure it out. But yeah, give me a shout on any of the available modes, and we'll figure it out. Anyway, other than that, hope you and yours are well. Me and mine are all doing pretty good. We're you know, I'm recuperating and recovering from my surgery, and things are improving every day, so I'm thankful for that. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you, Scott. Thanks for taking my check-in, and let you get on down to the next Scott. So KD5NJR, this is KA5TRO, back to net.
Hey, sounds good, Tony. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by. It was pleasant to talk to you from the from the social distance, or the length of one porch today. Thanks for swinging by and dropping off that care package for me. And I'm sure that Jerry and me and Bob all appreciate you sort of being the repairman on these tri-band rigs, which are kind of an interesting blast from the past. And you know me, if I didn't have a ICOM 910H earlier in life, I would be all over those vintage ICOM radios. But I think I'm going to stay where I'm at and try to round out my collection of old Yaesu. But for sure, anybody that's interested in high power FM, you know, and or high power single sideband, those are great rigs. So I hope somebody hollers at you. Those are competitive prices. That's as good as I've seen on those. And over the course of this week, you may appreciate this. Well, you might not. I don't think you're a big old calculator guy. But a friend of mine on YouTube reminded me I need to throw some batteries in my TI-74 and my TI-92. So I'm going to try to get that done this week. Send off the order for some rechargeable batteries, and then tinker around with these. The TI-74 speaks basic, and then the TI-92, that's kind of like a HP-48. It does a little bit of everything, so that'll be interesting. So we'll talk to you later, Tony. KA5TRO, KD5NJR, and we'll go down to KC5SHE. Hey, Scott.
Well, good evening, Scott. This is KC5SHE, KD5NJR. Well, first of all, I want to say I'm really, really glad to hear from Bob and that it didn't take major work to remove the bats from the belfry. So that makes me a very happy man. Otherwise, I really don't have a lot for the net tonight. Just doing the work from home thing, working on a few things here around the ham shack and the shop, and slowly but surely getting it cleaned up. The only other issue is a few things I've managed to touch and fix, and a few things like my rotor for my antenna system I fixed and then broke, so now I got to fix it again. But that's all I really know tonight. I'm having a pretty mellow day here. Work actually kicked in and kept me quite busy. Over.
Well, yeah, so we had made a couple runs out to my wife's parents and or siblings over in Coweta. One time to hide Easter eggs, and then another time to drop off surprise cookies. And on one of those trips, I grabbed a half a dozen milk crates. So now I've got 6 more milk crates, and I filled those up full of books. And that's really helping out. That's kind of a modular solution to my books on a bookshelf problem. I can't believe I've got 36 linear feet of books, but at least I can sort them by topic with these with these baskets. Kind of use them for bookends. Hi. But well, hey, I hope you continue to have a mellow week, and don't forget, you can probably feel it in your teeth, but that noontime net on 14709, they stay pretty busy. You might give that a whirl.
Well, I keep thinking about jumping in on that net, and I listen to it a little bit. My biggest problem is I'm sitting here, my station's right here in the work area, and just about the time I get ready to jump on is about the time that work actually fires up and has something to do. I don't think the people on my video conferences and my meetings would appreciate the radio sounds in the background, but then again, I've got a small team of 4 of us, and they just might have to get used to it. I don't know. But no, everything seems to be going well. Unfortunately, I've got to get my scheduling down a little bit better. I'm not making the progress on projects and home stuff as much as I wanted to. Actually, since I spend my whole week out in the shop, I try to at least spend a little weekend time in with the family, so that just cuts into things. But that's really all I have, and I'll kick it back to you, Scott. This is KC5SHE, KF5VDY.
Okay, well, hey, if you run back through the YouTube and you find where we're at, because I don't think they're synchronized, my old issue 1957 of the Journal of the British Interplanetary Society, that surfaced, and I took a few pictures from the inside of that, and that was a pretty cool issue. I looked to see if there were any other really old issues on eBay, and I didn't find any, but I may have to run to Stillwater and see if I can't find something in the stacks. They probably keep that bundled up, or at least they ought to, from a historical angle. But anyway, you may run back through here and take a look. If you can't find it, ask me and I'll send you the link. But it's got some cool stuff in it, kind of like that old book about rockets that you had told me about when you and Russell came by the house last. So it was good. I'll add Russell in since you mentioned KF5 VDY. Hey, I understand though about being out of brownie points. Being out here all day myself, it's kind of a bad look to go back out Tuesday nights and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. But sometimes I can wedge stuff in, during conference calls and so forth. So KC5SHE and KF5VDY 73 from KD5NJR. Let's take a pause for another round of check-ins for the Broken Arrow Amateur Radio Club Monday Night Net.
K5MXO. Yeah.
KG5PHN, no traffic.
For IST.
Okay, John, you have a good signal into the repeater. K4ISP, I've got you logged in. We'll come back to you. KG5PHN, you're in and out, no traffic, thank you. And WB5MXO, Guy, when we talked last, you were sick of YouTube. What's new with you?
I just conquered up, Scott. I've only been out twice in the last 3 weeks. Once to get some gas at Walmart, and I went to the pharmacy today with all my space gear on. With my age and my medical condition, I'm afraid to go out anywhere. But anyway, yeah, I've been just watching YouTube and watching other stuff on the TV. I did crawl up my tower today, my 20-meter beams on, and I pulled the rotor cable out of it on a dumb stunt here a few weeks back, and I had the wind blew it around yesterday, so I crawled up there and straightened it, fixed it toward the east. But 20 meters was really hot today. It's the first time I've heard that in a while. So anyway, just hanging out. I did have to cover my garden 2 nights, and I guess I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. I haven't got my tomatoes out yet, so just hanging loose here. That's about it.
Hey, how'd it go for you? Did you get any bites on 6 meters towards the end of last week?
Well, I got my 746 Pros set there on 6 meters. I haven't heard anything. I turn it on and just leave it on.
Okay, yeah, I knew that. And the reason I asked, it was, well, maybe it was midweek. It was Tuesday or Wednesday, right before Radio Shack Mark in Derby tossed my radio in the mail. He worked on 2 meters. He worked from Derby to Duncan, and I thought that was a pretty decent 2 meter contact. I thought maybe 6 meters would have perked up, but over on APRS, I got out here early, a couple mornings, and there's a pretty big digi now, Whitey Mountain, Arkansas, due south of Branson. It could be Whitney Mountain, I'm not certain, but it was coming in real strong. And then the day before that, I noticed that Keatonville Hill was working the Enid digipeater, and the Enid digipeater was working Amarillo. And by 10 in the morning, it's warmed up consistently, and all that goes away. But early mornings, when the temperatures are still changing, it's kind of impressive. I didn't know, but no good on 6, huh?
I haven't heard anything. I pulled the rotor cable out of my rotor on my 20-meter beam, so that's why I had to crawl up there today, turn it back toward the east because the wind blew it around. I guess the first warm day, I should have done it back when it was warm last week. Tilt that tower over and replace that rotor. What a stupid stunt I pulled on that.
Oh well. But you said you got the tomatoes covered up? that may not be a bad thing. I don't know that anyone's a big fan of broccoli. Hi, hi.
Well, I like it, so I guess I'm weird. Well, that's all I got, Scott. Like I say, I'm just hunkered up in here. Oh boy, I wish this would get over. I ain't got that many years left anyway.
Hey, copy that guy. Hey, we'll talk to you later on. I'll give it back to you to clear. But before you do, how's Kathy?
He's sitting in there watching TV. I mean, like I say, I'm YouTube to death on air guns and the war in the Pacific. I'm really interested in that because I've been to most of those places in the Pacific that were hot spots during World War II, and I'm still interested in it because I've been to all of them. I spent a year and a half on Guam, been to Midway and Iwo Jima and some other places, Truk. So I kind of like to watch that stuff about the war in the Pacific.
Now, your brother was ahead of you in the Navy. Did he see World War II action or no?
I was on the New Jersey during World War II.
You'll have to school me there, guy.
That's a battleship, the New Jersey. Well, what, BB-61, I think? I don't like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he went on it. He's a plank owner. A plank owner is considered one of the first crew that was on it. So anyway, that's how I got in the Navy, because he was in San Diego as a boot camp commander, and I was 17 years old, got out of high school to go down to visit him in San Diego, and 5 weeks later, he drug me down to the recruiter.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. You went over some of your old Navy stories while we were walking the length of the flea market there in Dayton. All right, man. Hey, we'll talk to you later, guy. WB5MXO, KD5NJR, and John, K4ISB. Hey, what's going on?
KD5NJR and the rest of the net. Things are things. Life goes on. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know which, I'm still considered an employee of an essential business, so I'm still going to work every day. Most of the people at the company are working from home, or at least those that can. So it's pretty quiet there in the office, which isn't a bad thing. I'm getting a little antsy to do some other stuff. Been pretty quiet, so you know. Been thinking a lot about APRS and whatever. I dragged all that stuff out, found my GPS instead, so I'm gonna have to get a new GPS for it. And I'm debating between, just one of the pucks or a handheld GPS like I had before, but I don't know. Just in times like this, that's when the itch comes back to do stuff.
Yeah. Okay, well, hey, if you need a handheld GPS, let me know. I'll leave one on the front porch for you, and you can throw 3 AAA batteries in it and see how you like it. I don't have the Garmin proprietary to DB9 serial cable for it any longer, but you can try it out. Over.
What model is that? I had a Garmin GPS 12, and it uses a little 4-pin round plug.
Okay, this is a Garmin Rhino 110. This is probably 2004, 2005 vintage. Yeah, it's a round plug, and when I get a chance to look, I'll see what it's like. But there wouldn't be too many pins. Ground and clear to send and plus 5 volts and data probably.
Basically, it's a 4-pin connection. You know, ground and signal by your voltage and one other.
Well, hey, true to form, I managed to dump a Diet Coke over. Yeah, it's 4 pins. So yeah, you may be in business.
That'd be great. One other question. The cable to the tiny track, that's a null modem cable, right?
Boy, it's been a long time since I've thought about that. But I think it is. I think you take the null modem cable, you take the null mode adapter out or in to program it. Man, I can't remember. It's been so long ago since Guy and I messed around with changing settings in his. I don't remember anymore. But I've got a tiny track instructions binder here on my desk. If you let me know, I'll dig through it sometime.
Thanks, but I can download one, I'm sure, so it's not a big deal. I've got some straight throughs, so if I can get a null modem with the right gender on each side, I'll be in business.
Yeah, probably so. I think you can get it if you had it up. If you had it going once before. Man, I'm trying to think of how that worked. I bet you put the null modem in order to program it. So to work with the GPS, I bet you take the null modem adapter out. So yeah, I bet your straight cable works.
Okay, well, I don't have a whole lot to say tonight, really, so I'll turn it back to you. KD5NJR from K4ISP back to the net.
Okie dokie. We'll talk to you later. And let me see. I think you're mostly a Mac guy. But since we're talking about APRS, maybe I can lure you into finding one Windows machine at least. And putting APRS IS32 on it. Or yet another APRS program. You could put YAP. YAP runs in Java. And then there's Exaster in Linux. You've got some options. But yeah, give it a whirl, and it's a lot of fun. So we'll talk to you later. K4ISP, KD5NJR, we're at the bottom of the list, and we'll take a pause for additional check-ins to the net. Call now.
This is WA9 King Zebra Sugar.
This is KI5FEM.
For Delta 5, Juliet Lima.
Okay, can the station between Harold and Bob go again? I apologize.
KI5FEM.
Hey, super. Thanks for bearing with me there. Yeah, hey Harold. How's it going? WA9KZS from KD5NJR.
We had our Easter dinner today. We had steaks on the grill, and they were mighty good. My wife makes the best fillets on the planet, and so we were doing that and watching something on TV. Then I realized that the net started at 8 o'clock, so I thought I would hop on and say hi, see how everybody's doing. How many are we up to, Scott?
I think you're number 15, Harold. Go ahead.
Well, that's not too bad. Is it pretty lonely there in the shack?
Oh, did you say lonely or did you say cold? Go ahead. Well, you know, it's gonna cool off in here for sure, but the indoor high today was 68 probably. I ran the heat. I ran the heat all day, pretty much. And I don't know. This is day 5, or excuse me, week 5. I wished it was day 5. It's week 5, day 1 of work from home, and it's going all right. It'll be nice for all of us to get back together again. We'll have to maybe that'll take the form of something different than the net. You know, maybe there's a restaurant or somewhere where everybody can talk and I don't have to kind of turn around to you guys and call the net, you know. But it was fun, the Zoom call that Bob set up Friday. That was a great idea. And we'll have to do some more of that. But yeah, the lonely part comes and goes. So I'm going to say on average, no, Harold, it's not lonely. How about yourself? I guess you've got the taxes wrapped up by this point. And you mentioned walking the dogs from time to time. What else is going on?
Like I might have lost a client, and the other one, big client I have, is not having me do as much work because they're trying to keep, watching their money. So I'm working through those issues right now. We're going to do some work on get some work done on my sister's house, and we have somebody coming out to look at the house. So we're thinking that here in the spring, do some repairs on the outside of the house. Over.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully it won't rain as much this spring as last spring, and you can get that stuff done.
That would be nice, but we'll have to see. I have a person that's going to come out and take a look at the house.
Well, hey, good deal, Harold.
Anyways, I'm going to return the helm back to you. This is WA9 King Zebra Sugar, back to net control.
Hey, I'll talk to you later. WA9 King Zebra Sugar 7-3, and we'll go to KI5 SEM from KD5 in JR. Hey, good evening.
Good evening. This is KI5 SEM. Yeah, I'm checking in on the net for the first time in a while. The name's Austin here, and I'm talking to you on my brand new to me Yaesu FTM 100DR and a brand new antenna setup. I have a J-pole antenna set up in my attic, and talking to you on the new Yaesu here. Yeah, I've been jumping around frequencies all day long. It has a huge receive range on it. So I've been listening to aircraft frequencies, a couple 900 megahertz or 800 megahertz police frequencies that aren't P25. So yeah, I've just been listening around and checked in on it. So yeah, just super excited to be on the new radio.
Oh, well, good deal. Well, let me see. I've got an antenna in my attic too, and yeah, those are good radios. I've helped set those up for folks. Those DR series. I've got the 1DR. Well, maybe they call it something different. I've got the handheld, and that works real well. I've had that for a few years now, and cool deal. Hey, do you have APRS in that 100DR?
Yeah, this is the version where they started putting APRS inside, so it doesn't have to have an external modem. So yeah, it has APRS built in beside the radio, so I can receive APRS beacons and transmit them automatically. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I was playing around with it today. So if you saw a new call sign pop up in Owasso, that was me. I was playing around with it there.
Okay. Well, I'll have to take a look at it, and I don't. That doesn't jump out in my head as a news station that I saw pop up today, but I didn't keep a super close eye on it. Yeah, APRS. Gosh, I got licensed in maybe 2001, and that's a mode that I've kind of come back to again and again. There's just a lot going on. You know, the space station is on 145.825. You know, and it beacons APRS when it's enabled. And man, you know, I've taken APRS capable radios to Pikes Peak and on vacations, and I just have a ball with it. Hey, something that's fun to do, to the call sign WeatherBot, Whiskey X-Ray Bravo Oscar Tango WXBOT. Send your zip code to that call sign, and you'll get the weather back. I just figured that out.
Okay, so does that go through a digipeater somewhere in Tulsa, or how does that work exactly?
I don't know where the back-end server is that does that, but you're right. There's behind the scenes magic somewhere, but I was trying to get the SMS gate to work where I could text from APRS, but I didn't seem to be able to reach that when I was playing around last week. I'll give it another try here tomorrow or the day after. But man, you can send email. You can do all sorts of fun stuff with it. So, anyways, I'm glad to hear of your interest there. And speaking of 800 meg analog stuff, for a little while longer, you'll be able to listen to PSO, but that'll be going P25 eventually. So there's something else to punch into your receiver, the Leonard Mountain PSO stuff. You'll find that on Radio Reference. Over.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to certainly look into that. Yeah, I was wanting to mess around with the SMS gate for APRS. I've heard of the same thing going on with DMR. They have an SMS gate with that, and I've played around with that, and I've sent text messages directly from my handheld DMR radio before. So it's pretty cool that you can send messages right off of there. Yeah, I haven't done that yet, but you just reminded me of being able to send SMS messages from APRS. And yeah, I'll have to play around with that and see if I can do that with the new radio here. So yeah, thanks for the ideas. I'm definitely going to do that.
Okay. Yeah, if you haven't seen it lately, I think you put some new stuff on it. But Bob, WB4APR, and I've seen him at Dayton with his solar-powered Prius. But yeah, www.aprs.org has a lot of neat ideas. I've got some APRS objects, and I don't know if they're going out RF since I disconnected the radio here, and I've got a internet-only APRS station on my laptop. But for a couple weeks here, when work from home first started, I had my 817 and the laptop running together, and I had lists of nets and different other things going out over RF and over the internet. I sort of scaled that back to just the internet now. But yeah, don't forget about APRS IS32 if you're a Windows guy, or XASTIR with an X, XASTIR if you're a Linux guy. There's just a lot to do. Over.
Yeah, I'm kind of all of the above. I have my Mac, and then I have my Windows computer that I got. I have one that runs a police radio and streams it over to a Zello channel for Windows. And then I also have Linux where I run my servers and stuff like that, my SQL coming. Really neat. So I'm super excited. But yeah, I'll definitely have to try that soon.
Okay, well, hey, we'll talk down the road, I hope. Have a great evening and keep on experimenting. KI5SEM, KD5NJR, 73, and good night. That takes us down to Bob, 85JL from KD5NJR. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Scott. We'll say good evening to everybody out there. And it's a little on the nippy side already, but anyway, I think we'll manage it. Gloria said the garden looked pretty good, so we got it covered up. So hopefully it'll make it through tonight, and after that maybe we can uncover it. I don't know. But anyway, I got a question for you on an end-fed antenna. Which direction do they radiate? Does it radiate along the wire itself? Like if you put it east and west, is it going to radiate mainly north and south?
Man, we talked about this last week with another gentleman, and the conclusion that we came to through his experimentation was that there wasn't any front-to-back rejection. So that means, man, don't get me lying. I think they radiate off the end for some reason. I think they're the opposite of a, or in contrast rather, to a dipole, which is broadside, right? I think those radiate off the end, and it radiates, to be honest, off both ends about equally well. But you'll have to double check that because I'm not for sure, and I certainly don't know that by experience because I don't have one.
Well, I have one to put up. Problem is with PSO lines in the backyard, and I don't know if I put up one because I looked at a YouTube video, and the guy said he has one and he's used it for many years, and it's like 148 feet. Well, for me, 148 feet is going to be running it from the house here down the north fence line and then turning it south and going through the trees on both directions. But the north to south run is going to be very close to the PSO lines, and I don't have any idea if I'm going to be picking up any radiation, from that.
Well, for sure, be super careful, working with push-up poles or, masts or whatever around those power lines. For sure.
Yeah, no, there would be no poles put up. It would be just through the trees. Problem is just, getting something to shoot it over the trees and then, and pull the wire through. But I didn't know for sure about going that north and south run, whether that or how much, radiation I'd pick up from the PSO lines overhead. But I guess we may just have to put it up and try it and see how well it works.
Hey, do you have like a pocket AM radio that you could tune to an empty channel and then walk in that general direction and see if it all goes south on you? That might be an interesting experiment.
Well, I used to have, I still may have one around here someplace. I'll have to try that and see. It's a very good idea. I know an AM radio really works good for tracking down the noises coming through, the AC lines, that's for sure, in the house. So, yeah, we'll give that a shot.
Hey, no problem, Bob. Yeah, towards the end of the net last week, we got to talking about off-center fed dipoles and in-fed antennas. And what I said about the antenna that didn't have any detectable front to back ratio on it, that may have been the off-center fed dipole. Now that I think about it, but with the in-fed ZEP, I am not for sure. That's one of those things that you're just going to have to try. And again, I think probably the lower to the ground it is, the more distorted the pattern gets anyways. So who knows? I mean, as long as it tunes, right? Hi. We'll talk to you later, Bob. 85JL, KD5NJR. We're at the bottom of the list. Are there additional stations for the net tonight? Call now.
W5 BBA.
Hey, Steve, you've got an off-center fed dipole. Can you tell us if you run it north-south, and if so, do you hear a lot of stations to your east and west? You probably have to, because there's not that many people due north of us. Over.
KD5NGR from W5VBA. I do run it north and south, Scott. The longer leg of the wire, it runs south. And the shorter one is north. And I think a lot of times it does run on the ends because my longest contact on 20 meters, I made a contact with the guy in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I don't know how in the world that happened, but apparently, the resonance on it does run, from the ends of it as well as, from the baling, the center baling on that. Over.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't for sure. I think I'd kind of like to try one, and if it was off-center fed, I'd put the short end on the north end of my shack, and then feed it on the south end of the shack, and then run the long end due south into the tree. That was an idea that I had. And if I had an in-fed ZEP, then I would feed it from the south end of the shack and then run the wire due south. But my concern would be that there wouldn't be all that many people to talk to due south. But if it was down low enough, probably the pattern would get kind of distorted and it would just kind of do what it was going to do. At least that was my thought. But you're talking to a little bit of everybody, are you not?
A lot of times I do. Florida, a lot of times I don't get into New York, upper northeastern states. I have made contacts in California as well as up into Vancouver, British Columbia. I've got a confirmed QSL card from it, and a couple from California as well. But I have to ask Bob, 85JL, how long a wire is he going to run on that again?
148 feet.
The YouTube video that I saw, this guy said he ran and has used one that was 148 feet and had very good luck on all frequencies. Bob, I understand that. I've not had much experience with in-fed antennas either. I did help AF5SW, Kevin, run one from his QTH one time, and they are long. You're right. And I think he ran it from a pole from his house, that may have been up maybe 25, 30 feet, and it was a long wire, and he stretched out in an L shape, but he had good results on it. But Bob, I couldn't tell you anything more about it. I bought a 7-band Buckmaster, and I love the thing. It works great. I haven't had to change it or anything or nothing. It was already pre-tuned, of course, but you still work with them a little bit. But I've had some really great success with OCF too. So my biggest problem is, you know, landscape here. I'm busted up against the Falls Apartments on the east side, so that's why I was going to have to go through the trees. It would be really close to PSO's lines. So I don't know. I may end up just going with a vertical of some sort and just be limited to maybe, I don't know, 40 meters, you know, on down, and go from there and see what good I can do with that. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to try it and see how it's going to come out. I may have to go to Wally World and get me a slingshot and see if I can't shoot something over the tops of the trees going east and then going south and see how it's going to work. Anyway, thank you, fellas. I do appreciate it. We'd just say 7-3 for now. This is Bob, A85JL.
Hey, cool deal, Bob. No problem. And back to you, Steve. W5VBA from KD5NJR with the Monday Night Net.
Good luck with that. I'm sorry, Bob. 85JL. Keep in touch on that. Let anybody know on that how that turns out, because NFEDs are supposed to have some really good success and everything. But I like my observer fed dipole for where I'm at down here and everything. But Scott, I don't have anything much else to report this afternoon or this evening. Just had the first conference with my mom's primary care doctor today, and it went well. And she didn't have to go and see him for another couple months. So we got the okay, got the check mark saying that she's okay. But listen, I'll back out here and see if you can get some more check-ins. Thanks for running the net, Scott. Good one tonight. KD5NJR in the group. W5 Victor Bravo Alpha.
Hey, sounds good, Steve. Yeah, something crazy I want to do this week. Not as a electrical ground, but, you know, as a counterpoise, kind of, for my buddy stick. I'm thinking about stapling some flexible, something small, some small wire around the perimeter of the shed here, and then bring that in and hook it onto the buddy stick, just for giggles. See if I can't hear a little bit of QRP digital stuff, digital on 20 meters. Who knows? I'll let you know if it works. Hey, 7-3 W5VBA KD5NJR. We're at the bottom of the list. Additional stations for the net tonight. Call now.
AG5YG.
Okay, we got AG5YJ and KC5ZQM. That's the new guy. I may not have that call quite down yet, but hey, for sure, welcome to the net.
It's AG Alpha Golf 5 Yankee Golf.
See, I knew it. Well, hey, welcome back to the net, and how are you enjoying amateur radio?
I'm having fun with it. I got to listen to a couple hours of the Boredom Breaker net today, and just working at home again, but I had a couple conference calls, so I couldn't catch all of it.
Yeah, I had a couple, so I got to check in. I don't know, about 12:30, and then I didn't get to hear very much more of it after that. But they had a long one today. They did good.
Yeah, they were going till 4:30 or later, I think. They were still rag chewing about 4:45 when I packed it up and headed out.
Yeah, I saw that the power meter was swung over, so I know they were busy. But it seems like I had call after call in the afternoon. Oh well, tomorrow's another day. That's what's fun about that net. That's daily at noon.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to be a little bit too far away to hear it tomorrow. I got to go back down to Oklahoma City for a job, so.
Yeah, well, it'll be back.
So there's always Wednesday, right?
Yep, I'm work from home until May the 4th, so I got a while to go.
Yeah, I've been hearing it may be through the end of May for some of us. I don't know how true that is yet, but I guess time will tell.
Yeah, maybe so. It could always get extended. I know I've been extended once or twice already.
A thought on this whole work from home thing, since we all got forced into it pretty quickly. Are they going to ease us back into having to commute to the office and say come in 2 or 3 days a week for a week or two and kind of get your bearings again, or are they just going to say you're back to work, let's go?
Hey, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that, but we didn't really ease out, so I don't know. Maybe we're not going to ease in, but for sure, those first couple days back will be, not too terribly productive. Where they told us to sort of pack up our desks before we left, so I'm going to be looking for that stapler, and wondering if we ran out of coffee and sugar while we were gone. Yeah, it'll be a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Hopefully I'll get a few days in the field to kind of ease my transition back in, but I've been out working jobs 2-3 days a week out in the field, unfortunately with 14 or 20 other guys on location, but it's critical infrastructure, so we don't really have a choice.
Yeah, I got you. I know how that can go. So, anyways, well, hey, be safe and have a great week.
Will do. Thank you, Scott.
Okay, AG5YG from KD5NJR takes us down to Doug, KC5ZQM. Hey, Doug.
5NJR in the net. This is KC5. And good evening, Scott. Good evening, everybody out there on the net. And we just wanted to jump in here. Just mainly let everybody know I'm still around, still alive, kicking, and so on. And the coronavirus situation really hasn't affected me that much. Because for a long time I lived alone, kind of stayed to myself, and so on. It affects me mostly when I get out. I haven't been getting out that much. But anyway, I do find a few things to get myself, try to keep myself busy and so forth. And I am looking forward to when this is clear up and do have some things in mind for later on. And actually, even though I'm not working now, I did work from home much else for the net. Like I said, towards when all this clears up. And, yeah, I'm saying maybe land for that. Try to get the thing free range where I can get a little more accurate. So forth. So with that, I just, since I don't have much else for the net, I'll say 73 to you and everybody out there. This is KC5.
Okay, hey, well, I'm glad that you checked in, Doug. Appreciate you coming by. KC5ZQM, KD5NJR. Well, continue to stay in and stay safe. And Doug is the bottom of the list. Looking at special event stations on ARRL.org. 500 years of the founding of Panama City, Florida. January 1 through August 15th. Hey, some of you guys may have worked with this guy already. Hotel Papa 1, Alpha Victor Sierra, Panama City. No, it's not Panama City, Florida. I bet that's Panama City, Panama. Yeah, that's different. Okay, so there you go. Yeah. Well, I feel kind of stupid. Yeah, alrighty. In fact, HP1 AVS is the zip code. The station is Hotel 31 Alpha. Hotel 31 Alpha. There we go. Panama City. Here we go. Something a little closer to home. April 1 through May 1. Whiskey 6 Romeo Oscar. W6RO is the Queen Mary. And they're on the air April 1 through May 1. The Battle of San Jacinto. San Jacinto Day special event. Kilo 5 Tango out of Natchitoches, Texas. It's the Natchitoches Amateur Radio Club on 14265, 14074, 14035, 7215. So there's another one. April 18th is the World Amateur Radio Day. Whiskey 2 Juliet Lima Delta out of Rochester, New York. Maple syrup, April 20th through May 4th. The 78th Maple Syrup Festival, Whiskey Kilo 8 Hotel, Vermontsville, Michigan. There's another one to go get, and it looks like they're on the air. Yeah, April 20th through May 4th. Boy Scout Camporee at West Point, Maryland, April 26th through April 28th. Whiskey 2 Papa, Whiskey 5 Lima, West Monroe, Louisiana. It's the Louisiana Purchase Special Event Station, April 27th through May 5. Fishing for Freedom, Whiskey 4 Foxtrot, American Legion Post 2904, Powder Springs, Georgia, April 27th. The Idaho Ham Radio STEM Fest, April 27th, KI7 KBD Mountain Home, Idaho, the Boise County Aries Group. Hey, they could have got one of those vanity calls, but KI7 KDB, I don't know if I would notice that as a special event station, but that's the STEM Fest. International Marconi Day, not Macaroni Day, International Marconi Day. The Long Island CW Club will be on the air. Whiskey 2 Lima Charlie Whiskey, W2L CW. You'll hear that on the air. That'll ring a bell. April 27th on 7040, 10120, 14040, and 18080. A couple different bands there, 10 and 18 megs. I don't see a lot of contesting there. Long Island CWClub.org. And we'll do one more here. April 27th, Whiskey 7 Victor Whiskey, Klamath Falls, Oregon. The Klamath Basin Amateur Radio Club, 14265. After the last logging train in 1990, the OC&E Woods Line was turned over to a linear park 105 miles in length, Oregon's longest park. Over the years, the park hiking trail has become very popular. This special event will be held at the trailhead in Klamath Falls. So there you go. Whiskey 7 Victor Whiskey, 14265 FT8 7074. So there you go. Tourist Railway. And we've been at this for a while, but I don't want to leave anybody in the cold. Additional stations for the net tonight. Call now. 2 more and we get to 20. Okay, so KD5NJR, that's me, your net controller. I'm going to take spot 19. Anybody else for the net tonight? Call now.
W5 ODS.
Hey, you saved me, Gary. W5ODS, do we have additional stations for the bottom of the list?
Pretty marathon net. Good. Congratulations there, Sky. I've been listening to the whole thing, so appreciate your taking a net for us.
Yeah, no problem. Is that you, Gary?
That's me.
Hey, you sound a little different. Hey, what's your radio?
Found an old HT here in my living room, so I'm not even buying the other radio.
Hey, fair enough. Yeah, well, hey, thanks a lot for the compliments there. Having a good time with the net. These last 2 or 3 have been long ones. I've enjoyed that.
W3, Scott. Take care.
Okay, haven't got to 20. I feel like I don't have to beat a dead horse, but I will. Anybody else for the net tonight? Call now.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Hey, I guess Siri told me she didn't know how to check into a net. That's kind of funny. All right, gang. So with 20 in the log, we'll return 14691 back to regular amateur use. 7-3 and good night. And KD5NJR calling KA5TRO.
KA5TRO. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, I didn't tell you earlier, but I was messing around with this open CAD Saturday night while Tiffany was decorating cookies. And I think I've seen this on fireworks before. I know I didn't invent this, but I put some little runners down the sides of my nose cone and then attached the fins to them and made kind of a one-piece deal where the engine would sort of friction fit into this nose, and then you didn't have a fuselage. Over.
Well, as long as your center of gravity's in front of your center of pressure, it'll work.
Yeah, and then I got kind of crazy, and since I was already down there with these fins, I made a diameter adapter to where, at least in my mind, you could stick a booster engine. It's kind of a silly looking thing. If you run back through the YouTube, I've left it up on my monitor for the for sort of the conclusion of the net. But you might get a kick out of this. I made the engines brown, and it's kind of cool.
Oh, the YouTube, I'll have to refresh it. It dropped me about 10 or 15 minutes into the net. Just kept spinning, and then it died. So I don't know what happened on my end. Maybe it just got overloaded with people on my end using bandwidth. But yeah, I'll go back and look at it.
Yeah, the recording light says I'm still going, but I have my doubts. I think I hit a bad bump, kind of a speed bump myself, and I don't know. Alex sometimes does, sometimes doesn't hold to a one device at a time policy, and we just kind of run out of bandwidth. We pay for gobs of it from Cox, but that's really not a guarantee of anything. I think I've got some. I think I have a lot of kids on my Ethernet span. Over.
I'm in the same boat. I pay for a lot of bandwidth, and I'm not always sure I get it. You know, even though I've upgraded to that